so that we can get started. All of you, please open your videos quickly without wasting any time, that we can get cracking. Right, so we follow the same drill. There are certain general observations which I'll make later on. Right now, let us get cracking to make the best of the hour that is available with us. Some of you had approached me seeking answers to the questions that you had in mind. And I had thought that those questions should be mentioned here because the answers to those questions will benefit each one of you. So the drill will be the same. Those of you wanting to ask questions, please raise your electronic hand. And for answers, you can raise your physical hand. So if you have any question, let's start by seeking your electronic hand. If you have any questions, please raise so that I'll call out the name. We'll unmute you and then we can hear your questions. So any question that any one of you has just now, you can raise your electronic hand. I'm surprised many of you approach me individually and then I ask you to raise those questions in the group. Now I don't see any questions being raised here. Those that have joined recently, please open your videos quickly. All those. Quickly open your videos, please. I know it's cold and you must all be glad. I can see someone putting on the hood as well. So that's fine. But open your videos, all of you. Jatin, Umesh, Nisha, SSS, Sankalp Dikshit, Ariman, please open your videos. So I'm assuming that all of you are having your group discussions regularly. Is that right? Can I see some nods? Okay, good. So we start with Shrey Shukla. Shrey, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So last time you told us to remind you about the question on the judiciary and its efficacy.
Okay.
And its independence.
Wonderful.
There have been many issues. For example, Places of Worship Act has been in the news. Secondly, Allahabad High Court judge, his comments, which were treated as something biased towards a particular minority community. So that raised some questions. So that is a sensitive topic you told us to remind.
Okay, let's start with a very straightforward question. Let us start with the question, has the judiciary become biased? Let me, very upfront, straightforward, controversial question. Who will volunteer to answer this question? Has the judiciary become biased? I'm assuming such a question will not be asked, but I'm taking this extreme question just to understand from you, how do you approach answering even as extreme a question as this? Because if you can answer this question, any controversial question you'll be able to answer. So any volunteers, any physical hand up? Yes, Mahipal. Please unmute Mahipal.
Sir, no, sir, the judiciary has not become biased. It is indeed functioning as an independent institution and also upholding the values that our constitution makes us envision it to do so.
Mahipal, you have been answering questions in all the sessions, and in all the sessions I have been telling you don't start with a yes and no.
Okay.
Yet you start with yes and no.
Yes.
I remember last time also you started with a categorical yes and no. I mean, there could be yes and no, I'm not saying. But my suggestion to you would be, don't start with a categorical. Come to a conclusion and say yes and no. Because they will treat you as an impulsive person. Yes, fixed ideas, he comes. If you develop an argument and then say yes or no, finally I have no quarrel with that. There is a reason why I keep telling all of you that don't start with categorical yes or no. Mahipal, you have been in the path. Good thing that is you are attending this session. Bad thing is you are not learning from these sessions. You are saying exactly the same last time also. Huh? So you have to think over it. And all of you have to think over it. then don't start with a yes or no. Answer may still be yes or no. But start with something a bit more balanced. Okay, let me hear somebody else, then I'll tell. I saw some other physical hand. Okay, Mridul.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So there are allegations on the judiciary that it is biased from certain quarters. But in reality, when we see the judicial conduct in the past many years after the functioning of the democracy, we can certainly see that we have a more robust and well-functioning independent judiciary. And recent decisions regarding the upholding the independence of judiciary, like the non-constitutional of the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act and also other amendment acts, we can certainly say that our judiciary is the more robust and also most independent judiciary in the world. But there are some lacunas like the judicial appointment and also conduct of certain judges, which can be improved upon by self-restraining and self-regulation of the judiciary itself.
Just one observation in this, rest is fine. Is there any empirical evidence to say that ours is the best judiciary? Is there a necessity even to say this is the best judiciary in the world? I mean, you can say the rest of it. Because that was not the question also, whether judiciary is the best in the world. So why do you call it best in the world when there is no, it's an opinion.
Yes, sir, I can say that it is considered as the most independent judiciary in the world.
Now, who considered it? Is there any study or independent report? So why there is no, my contention is it's a redundant statement. That's neither in the question. So why are you unnecessarily bringing something which might put you into trouble? That how do you conclude it's the most independent judiciary? So why say that? It's not needed. Right? Anybody else? Okay, I see Isha.
Good evening, sir. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Sir, I think our judiciary has been given the opportunity to be the guardian of our constitution. For that, judiciary has given many landmark decisions like basic structure. Sir, recently we have seen that there has been allegations regarding to individual judges as well as that to the acts of benches also. However, sir, we need to realize the judiciary has acted in a very non-biased nature. We see that there has been judgments like that of triple talaq, or for that matter, judgments like that of Ayodhya judgment or Navtesh Johar. These judgments are basically relating to the empowering of the society and not favoring any kind of religion or any section for that matter. Sir, there are individual judges who have commented like this, but that doesn't paint the whole judiciary in a biased picture, sir. So that is what we need to realize.
So both Mahipal and Mridul, did you listen to Isha closely? Did you listen to the way she articulated her point of view? You may disagree, we may disagree, someone may disagree. That's not an issue at all. I've been telling all of you, it's not a question of agreement, disagreement. There will always be disagreement on such issues. But the way you presented, the way you buttress your argument, the ease with which she spoke is something that you should attempt to try. Okay? Anybody else volunteering? I think Isha came out well. Kishan. Please unmute Kishan. Kishan, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Good evening,
yes.
Sir. Am
Good
I
evening.
audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir, I would say judiciary as one of the three organs of the state will be subjected to criticism like other organs of the state. And I would say, sir, when it comes to judiciary, its criticism is based on the judgments delivered by it. And sir, in any case of in any litigation, sir, there is always a winner and there a loser. So, sir, those criticism of being biased or unbiased stems from the judgments delivered by the honorable courts, be it high courts or Supreme Court. So, sir, those criticism stems from that, but we should see judge the judiciary on the basis of the impacts it have on the society. If it is delivering larger good to the society, sir, in that regard, sir, some criticism may come, but we should not see judiciary as biased. We should judge them on merit, on logic. Yes, I I would agree, sir. Some recent comments made by certain judges has raised issues, and those must be addressed. But to pass such a sweeping judgment, I would say, sir, that would not be wise, sir.
See, Kiran, you have a very good answer, but I wish you had taped this. And if you listen to it again, I have been advising all of you not to use the word should.
Okay.
I've been advising you. There is a good reason. At your age, even at my age, I have not yet come to conclusions. I'm still trying to understand a few issues. It should do this, it should do that. Ye thodi koshish kijiye. Otherwise, I think your answer was very good. Okay, I think we've got the answer. If there's any other question related to judiciary, we may ask. I think the answers were very valid. Good. Okay. Okay, next question. Anybody else? I had a hand earlier, but it went down. Okay, yes, Shubham.
Sir, how to approach the LGBTQ related questions? I mean, either it should be allowed or not.
No, which question?
LGBTQ questions. I mean, it should be allowed.
No, see, this forum, what we are discussing, ask any question under the sun. See, the idea here is, let us take the most ridiculous of question and let's see how we answer it. I am not answering questions for you. What I am trying to suggest to you is, how should you answer a question? I keep saying that in every session. That's not a question of sensitivity of a question. I keep asking you, you ask any sensitive question. Let's discuss that. Frame a question and ask.
So should LGBTQ plus rights should be recognized by the government and the legal recognition should happen or not?
This was discussed in one of the sessions, but let's take it again.
Okay.
I think we discussed it at length. You perhaps did not attend it. Was it the first session or the second session? I think this was discussed. Anushka, do you remember we discussed this? No? So, Shubham, I would suggest you watch the previous videos. May I request all of you?
Okay, I will go through the recording.
Okay. May I request all of you? Rajat has already shared with you the previous 3 sessions on sensitive questions. Please watch them if you haven't already watched them. Okay? Because some very good questions were raised and very nice answers emerged. So I would not like to discuss it again. Is that okay with you, Shubham? Right. Okay. Any other question that you have? Anybody? Okay, Anushka, please go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to ask that what we would give as an answer when we will be asked that should judges are appointing themselves. So what should be the reform in this aspect?
I'm glad that you're raising this question. I was expecting you all to come up with some specific questions on judges. Okay, let's frame this question. Should the judges appoint themselves in India? Who's volunteering to answer this? Any volunteers? No volunteer. Okay. Aryaman.
So, this is a very important question of independence of judiciary. And under Article 124 and through the 4 judges' cases, judiciary has taken upon itself to appoint the judges, and the collegium system has worked all in all in total as a great system of maintaining its independence. However, in appointing judges, we are stuck between 2 ends of the spectrum. One end is the US system, where there is definite political interference in appointing judges, as was seen in the case of Justice Brett Kavanaugh being appointed to the Supreme Court of the United States. And in the other spectrum is the Indian way, where the judges appoint themselves. In my opinion, sir, I believe the Indian way of appointing judges has evolved given the unique challenges and the constraints that the Indian polity has, and it has worked quite well in the past. However, it can be improved. Borrowing from the recorded dissent in the NJAC case by Justice Chelameshwar, there should be a transparent system. The meetings of the collegium should be recorded, and the minutes minutes may be made public, may be made available in the public domain for criticism. So that is, in my way, the best way to appoint judges right now. Sorry, sir.
Right.
Whether anyone of you agrees with what RMN said or not, I would give him 9 on 10 on this answer. It's a question. I mean, I have a slightly different point of view, but that is not material. My point of view or his point of view is not material. What I liked about his approach, and all of you should learn from each other, that's the whole idea of having these discussions here, is the way he evolved. He explained the two extremes, and then he gave his point of view. As I said, there could be a disagreement. And mind you, don't shy away from criticism of what? You're not there only to say yes, yes, and goody, goody. No. Here, he is in his own way being slightly critical of the extreme position of India without being abrasive, without being offensive. He very politely puts it through that we have to find a balance between the two extremes. Now, obviously, there is no answer expected of you in the sense of finality as to how judges should be appointed. What he would be assessed on, and I would assess him, I'll give him 9 on 10, because the manner in which he went about answering the question. Does anyone have observation on his answer or another answer? Okay, we have a few hands here. Okay, Kaushal hasn't spoken, so let's get Kaushal in.
Sir, good evening. Sir, Constitution provides for judges being appointed by the executive, but if we see the progression from 90s, especially during 1970s when Indira Gandhi government was there, then appointment of Mr. Honorable Justice A.N. Ray was questioned, and it was alleged that it was partial or biased, and he was not the most senior judge, and he was appointed as CJI. So the questions were raised, and over the period of time, judiciary has reviewed the process, and it through various judges cases like first judge case, second judge case, third judge case, it evolved a process where it is appointing itself. So now again, conflict of interest is being alleged here. So if we want to refine this process of appointment, we may probably go for a committee sort of thing where different appointees from different part of government can be there, from executive also, from judiciary also, and for that matter from parliament also can be there, and we can have a committee-based system which can provide for the appointment.
Very good. Another very good answer, different view. So, as I keep telling you, there is no final answer to this. But I am glad that both of you have evolved and developed this answer very well. Anushka, you wanted to say something.
Sir, I think that both of the points that I wanted to say were previously spoken.
Excellent.
By
So there you are. May I suggest, therefore, to all of you, you can use your group discussions for also discussing such issues. And if you come across acute difficulty, then we can take it up here. I am glad that a large number of you are participating in group discussions, but some of you are missing it out. I don't know why. I don't know why you're not finding value in discussing these issues. You know, if I were you, I would get phenomenally from what Ariman has said and what Kaushal said. Both are very good answers, different views, but very good answers. So it doesn't really matter whether the view is different. The question is whether you're answering it well. So use your groups also to discuss such issues. Okay. So Anushka, you finally found the answer to your question, or should we take it further? She's satisfied. Okay. So next question. Anybody? Yes, Jatin.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Jatin.
Sir, I have a question regarding the status of national integration. Like in sometimes a broad question puts in front of you, like how do you see the status of national integration in India? And do you still think that India will be integrated despite having the issues like Naxalism or socio-based discrimination, societal-based discriminations, or Jammu and Kashmir insurgency?
Okay. Any volunteers for this question? Quick volunteers. See, I would like somebody who's not spoken. Ariman, you spoke so well. I want somebody. I'll come back to you if there's no other question. You know, you must attempt to answer this question. Suppose this is asked of you, what will you do? Gaurav Pratap Singh.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Gaurav.
Sir, I would like to answer this as follows. Sir, there are certain internal security threats in India, such as Naxalism, as you rightly mentioned about separatism in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, etc. But my observation is that in last 75 years of Indian Republic, we have been able to tackle this situation very well. And as far as the degree of these issues, I think that these issues are only going on a downward trend. So I think that for the next 50, 60, 70 years, whatever we can say, we will be able to handle it well, as we have been doing till now.
Anybody else? I am looking at hands and people. भैया बाकी लोग भी वीडियो खोल लीजिए ना, निर्मल जी, संकल्प दीक्षित, आदित्य मित्तल, क्या भैया आपकी आरती करूंगा मैं? अरे वाह वाह वाह, क्या बात है। नितिन दीपक साहब ने तो गजब ही कर दिया, मेरे एक कहने से इन्होंने अपना वीडियो खोल दिया, वाह वाह, क्या बात है। और आदित्य मित्तल तो अभी अंधेरे में है। अरे भाई अंधेरे में ही रह जाओगे। हाँ देखिए, अब दिख गया। आप अंधेरे में जाकर इंटरव्यू देंगे तो आपको नंबर थोड़ी ना मिलवे करेगा भाई। क्यों आप लोगों को 10 बार मुझे कहना पड़ता है संकल्प दीक्षित, ईरा जोरवाल? वाई? I mean, are you going to be in the dark when you go to there is a reason why I ask you to open your videos. I mean, I am not very fond of watching faces, but it's for your own benefit. I want to see your facial expression as the conversation is going on. So a slight nod of head as if you're talking to me would help you. You will get into the habit of doing that. आप खाली पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट की तैयारी मत कीजिए, आप आदत डालिए कि किसी से भी बात कर रहे हैं तो आपकी थोड़ा गर्दन हिलेगी तो उसको भी अच्छा लगेगा जो सुनेगा। बुत की तरह बैठे रहिएगा तो बुत की तरह आपको नंबर दे देंगे बिल्कुल एकदम, ठीक है ना। फिर चार महीने बाद परेशान घूमिएगा। ये सब जो बातें कह रहा हूं मैं हर साल कहता हूं, और हर साल कुछ लोग नहीं सुनते हैं, अपना वीडियो बंद रखते हैं, वो बंद हो जाते हैं जब रिजल्ट आता है। सोच लीजिए इस बात को, याद रखिएगा मेरे इन शब्दों को। जब रिजल्ट आएगा उस समय आप बंद महसूस करेंगे आप अपने आप को। दिस इज अ ह्यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर यू। अब हमारा दिमाग खराब है, मैं आपके सामने बैठा हूं अपने वीडियो खोल के, आप अपना वीडियो बंद किए हुए हैं। I mean, it is not even courtesy for you. I have to ask you 10 times to open your video, and then you open your video. Why do you come and join StudyIQ? आपको इधर उधर जाना, चले जाइए आप, और 4 महीने बाद रिग्रेट कीजिएगा। I mean, I am shocked. I have to request you time and again. विनती कर रहा हूं मैं आपसे, वीडियो खोलिए आपके लिए, मैं अपने लिए कह रहा हूं ये। Some of you are absolutely incorrigible, and you'll regret it. I'm telling you, 3 months down the line. I say it every year and people regret it. You don't understand. So I want you all to respond as I speak to you. Don't sit like idle sitting there. It will create such a negative impact with the board कि बुद्ध बना कह रहा है कि जो हम बोल रहे हैं इसको कुछ शक्ल में घुस रहा है नहीं घुस रहा, अकल में घुस रहा है नहीं घुस रहा. You don't seem to understand. Okay, who's now volunteering to answer this question? And may I request all of you to observe how Anushka is speaking, how we had just now Ariman speak, how we had Sachin speak. Observe them, how they are speaking, how they are communicating. It will help you, Isha, Ira, whatever your name is, Ira Jorwal. If you sit like an absolute idol, I can guarantee that you will get as many marks in the board. You have to nod or do something. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to each one of you. Why do you sit like absolutely a statue sitting here? You have to respond. You can't sit like that. Right? Any other volunteers to this question? Okay, Anushka, let me have you.
So when we talk about India, it's a land of diversity and land of diverse culture from the time immemorial. We also see that India is a nation in making, which also brings us to the point that there are obviously different ethnicities, different culture, different languages, and therefore different problems that different arena of India faces. However, there has been a concentrated effort since the time of independence to work towards the national integration. We see how Sardar Patel worked to bring the all 552 princely states together, and how successive governments have quelled to work on the issue of Naxalism, to work on the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. In Northeast also the situation has bettered throughout the time, and the various issues that have come have come time and again. How we have seen how government, judiciary, media have all played a very crucial role in integrating Indian society. Obviously, that's a long drawn process and will take some time. However, we are on the path of progress as such.
Brilliant. 9 on 10. I'm telling you, that's how the board looks at. A very comprehensive, complete answer, indicating a very positive approach of the candidate. Yes, there are problems, but having problems does not mean that India is not integrated. Every society is diverse in nature, and there would always be problems. There is no society anywhere in the world or no country anywhere in the world where there are not internal problems, internal decisions, whether it's US, whether it is England, whether it's developed countries, Germany, France, everywhere there are such problems. That doesn't mean that they are not integrated. They are indeed integrated. The question is whether, as the challenges are evolving, how is the government handling them? And I think you came up with a good answer. Right. Thank you. Umesh, you have a question here? No, I admire. See, look at Umesh. He's in a dark situation, but yet he's opened his camera. That is something, and he's doing it on his phone. आप लोग बैठे हुए कमरे के अंदर और स्विच ऑफ करके बैठे हुए वीडियो करके, और मेरी मिन्नत कर पे आपने मुझ पे एक बड़ा एहसान कर दिया वीडियो खोल के. I see, we are committed to help you here, and this is a free guidance program. You take it like casually. तो आप जाइए, यहाँ 10 कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट है, जाके वहां बैठिए और 25 वहां पे आप मॉक इंटरव्यू दीजिए और 4 महीने बाद मुझे फोन कर दीजिएगा क्या हुआ. I mean, I do this every year, and there are 5, 6, 10 people who I tell them very clearly, this is going to be your result if you don't improve. And it is their result. Yes. Umesh, do you have a question? You had raised a hand.
I had an answer, sir, in mind.
Okay, चलो आंसर तो और भी इसके ऊपर आप कुछ कह पाएंगे जो है, या it is fine?
Sir, one more thing, sir. Ours is a case of unity in diversity, sir. And I think there are many differences which can mainly be attributed to a resource crunch and a lack of common identity. So on the resource front, sir, we are catching up as we are developing. On the identity front, sir, we need to develop a common identity because we are a very diverse country. So as we'll develop a common identity, sir, I think we will be able to integrate in a much more better way, sir.
Okay, now let me develop on what Umesh said and how you should be careful in not bringing in factors about which you may not have explanation. So he's brought in 2 very important aspects. One is resource crunch and other is the common identity. Now, if you are comfortable with questions on resource crunch and on common identity, there's no harm in saying what Umesh said. But you could possibly get caught in this entire debate that may start from resource crunch, because resource crunch has many aspects. So you compare what Umesh said to what Anushka said. I am wondering what additional question would I ask of Anushka, because it's a well-rounded answer. In Umesh's question, there's no harm in what Umesh said, provided you are prepared for subsequent questions on resources in the country. What do you mean by resource crunch? And identity is another very wide area which will take you to any direction. So if you are comfortable with the following question, no problem, absolutely, please go ahead. But I would suggest, जरूरत क्या है? जैसे मैंने पहले क्वेश्चन में कहा था, भाई इंडिया की जुडिशरी सबसे अच्छी, उसकी जरूरत क्या है? वो तो क्वेश्चन में नहीं पूछा. Now this is something which you should practice in groups and let the other group members point out that you are making certain redundant statements which are not required. So मुझे ऐसा लगता है उमेश पे, just think over it. I am not saying what you're saying is wrong. What I am saying is, in answering in the question in the manner that you have, be prepared for follow-up questions you might get caught. That's the only point that I'm making. Right? Okay. We have Jatin. Yes, Jatin.
Sir, Anushka had made a point that India is a nation in making. Sir, previous year, one of my friend also got answered by the board chairman said, do you think that India is a nation or India is a nation in making? So it is a very deep question, sir. If we say that India is a nation in making, they counter very hard. Like, how do you think that India is a nation making? India got independent. India is already a nation. But then we do have certain challenges. So in those type of scenarios, how can we defend that if India is a nation in making?
So let us ask this as a question and seek answer. I mean, that's what I want in this interaction that I'm having with you. Let these questions be raised. Okay, let me ask this question to all of you. Is India a nation or a nation in the making? Who will answer this question? Okay, let me ask Ira Jorwal to answer this question. Is India a nation or nation in the making? I'll come back to you, Invisible Man.
Sir, in my opinion, I would like to point out that there can be different people with different perspectives. For some, India can be an integrated and a complete nation that has already been made after the independence. However, there are certain groups that have certain demands. For example, the Northeast people who want some more autonomy. So in their perspective, India can be a nation in the making. So if we take a comprehensive look of all of that, we can still say that there are certain sections according to which India is a nation in the making.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, Invisible Man. भाई एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर आपको इनविजिबल मैन दिख नहीं रहे हैं क्या?
सर आई हैव बीन
अनम्यूट कर दिया. इनविजिबल मैन, आप साउंड को विजिबल कीजिए, अपनी अनम्यूट कीजिए. इनविजिबल मैन, वो तो इनविजिबल हो गया. अच्छा है अभी. Okay, we'll come back to you. There is some sound problem. Anybody else volunteering? Anushka, I will not let you come here. Sankalp Dikshit. Sankalp, please unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hold on. I am repeating the question. The question is whether India is a nation or an evolving nation, right?
Yes, sir. So nation refers to the collective sentiments that people feel of belongingness. And it is much more about the identity that a person holds. And India, a person has multiple identities. He has regional identities, they have religious identities, caste-based identities. And this is why it is commonly said that India is a nation in making. Because in nations, the only collective sentiment or the only identity that people strongly feel about is that of belonging to a nation. When India got its independence, India became a nation state, which is the physical boundaries. But we are evolving as a nation in which the collective sentiment of all the people in a nation is transitioning towards a feeling in which we strongly feel only about our nation. So this is my point of view.
Sankalp, it's brilliant. I couldn't have answered that way. Brilliant, absolute brilliant. The way you have articulated, the way you have defined about individual identities, the way you have connected, very good answer. Very good answer. Is political science or philosophy your background, Sankalp?
No, sir. I'm from sociology option.
Yes, I didn't say sociology. I could guess. Because a very well informed and very well articulated answer. God bless you. Any other volunteers here? You know, I feel good when I hear some of you. I feel good about it, but I don't feel good about some of you, very few of you. उसलिए लगता है कि there is so much to learn from each one of you. And there are some brilliant answers that are emerging here. I'll be very surprised if you don't do very well in the interview. Sankalp, Anushka, and the Ariman, many of you. You're doing so well. And you speak so well. God bless you. Okay. Umesh Kumar.
Sir, the idea of a nation state was initially rooted in the Western concept, sir, based on a single identity like religion or land, sir. But India's was a peculiar case where so many identities came together to form a nation based on our constitution, sir. So we have been trying to hold up the constitutional values, and we are progressing towards evolving as a nation, sir. So it is a ever-going process, sir.
Good. Another good answer. Okay, so we close this because we got very good answers here. Now we go on to the next question if anybody wants to raise it. Still not able to open mic, sir. Don't worry. Don't worry. Doesn't matter if you are, listen, communication is two-way thing. It's not necessarily you speaking. If you're listening well, that's good enough. The idea is to benefit from it. If you can't speak, don't worry on that front, if you are unable to open the mic. Okay, Kaushal.
Sir, I was reading one of the transcripts of this year. So one question was asked, do you really think Hindu society is more egalitarian towards women than Muslim society in India? So I found it very sensitive question.
Let's take this question. That's what I want all of you. Now transcript is coming. I am reading them. I am not raising those questions because they thought, if you are not raising a question, why should I raise this question? No, you should raise. I am glad he raises this question. Is the Hindu society more egalitarian than others? Any answer?
It was said in the context of women.
Yeah. More egalitarian in the context of women. Anybody? No one. Suppose this question is asked. Yes, Karan. Sorry, Kishan Gupta.
Well, I would say this argument about egalitarianism across societies arising of the fact that traditionally, sir, women have been marginalized in certain religions. So there have been progressive steps taken to bring equality across gender. Sir, in this regard, certain religions have progressed more relative to the other sections. So this argument is arising that Hindu society is more egalitarian than Muslim societies. But I would say, sir, within the framework of Constitution, provisions are there that no one should be discriminated on the basis of gender. So I would say that, sir, within the framework of Constitution, every society, every religion is working. And in times to come, sir, I think we would be able to bring more egalitarianism when it comes to gender-based identity, sir.
I'll come back to your answer, Kishan, but I want to hear some more people. Because this is a very, very interesting question and we should be able to formulate an acceptable answer by all. So I'm glad there are more hands coming up. Is it Sumi or Simi? Sumi? Please unmute yourself.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Sumi.
Sir, my answer to this question would be like coming to a conclusion that whether Hindu society is more egalitarian would not be much fair, because sir, there has been instances wherein Hindu society too has many precedents and actions like dowry system and female infanticide and some issues like this, wherein it was not egalitarian enough. Similarly, sir, in Muslim society also we have instances of triple talaq and other issues going on. So my submission is that we should rather focus on having egalitarian society across religious spectrum, not focusing on any particular religion. And sir, in my opinion, because we do not have any conclusive evidence and facts and data showing that this particular section is more egalitarian and that is not, so it would not be very substantial, sir.
Sumi, before I bring in somebody else, how about starting your answer with the last sentence that you're making, last statement? Just reverse it a bit.
Sure, sir.
And then your argument builds very well. Okay, you start by saying, and think over it, all of you. Sir, in my limited understanding, there is no empirical evidence that one religion is better than the other. This is all perception.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there could be empirical evidence, at least I'm not aware. So you get away with that by saying that. So you start by that argument, you balance it. And then say, the Constitution is, somebody said it, the Constitution is very clear. And in my limited understanding, all the religions are indeed moving in that direction, though there are exceptions in all the religion where women are not treated. So our ultimate objective, even by way of Constitution, is to create an egalitarian society, including, and women should get all the rights which men have. But societies take time to evolve, and we are moving in that direction. So what you said was right. Only thing is, instead of back-ending your last argument, you bring it up front. Okay, SSS. SSS. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. My answer to this question would be, if we examine the various practices, India has been the land of diversity. There are many groups which follow different traditional practices, customary practices, and across various religions and various customs, various groupings, various tribes, there are different practices related to women. So some are aligning with our notion of egalitarianism, some are not aligning. And if we observe our constitutional guidelines, they are clear cut that we have to move towards the gender equality, and gradually we are progressing in that direction.
Okay. Jatin?
Sir, seeing the historical evolution of the Indian society from past, there has been instances in history that our Indian society had been marginalizing the women, be it Muslim or Hindu. But sir, in today's modern India, the level of marginalization is not just linked with religious identity, but also with other identities like economic identities. And sir, in present times, we do see that in certain places, like say Lakshadweep, sir, there are Muslim women which are empowered there. I have friends also from there, sir. So there, Muslim women from there are empowered. And the major reason is that's because they are becoming literate. So we do see that, sir, apart from religious identity, now present terms of less marginalization can be seen from the economic empowerment of women. So, sir, we shouldn't be linking today in terms of just cultural or religious identities, but it's the matter of opportunity the woman gets in present times.
Okay, good. So I think the answers are by and large fine. Again, as I said, there could be difference opinion. But I'm looking at, as I keep saying, the structuring part of the answers. And in that sense, I think Sumi came up with a lot of good arguments. Only thing is, if she had structured and brought it forth, the last argument, that would have been virtually a perfect answer. Even others were very good answers. So I'm repeatedly suggesting it. It would be worthwhile using the opportunity of your group discussions. At the end of a discussion, you discuss a topic, that discussion ends. Then you have a question for the day and pick up a sensitive question and discuss it for 5 minutes, like we are doing it here. And if you will still get stuck, we'll take it up in a session here. It will be easier for you to articulate. I'm so glad that so many of you are speaking today. Last time, there weren't so many people speaking. It makes me feel happy that the participation is much more. Let's take up the next question. Who has the next question now? Tanish.
Good evening, sir. Sir, one question I found in transcript just now, sir, like they asked that one child is playing on an old railway track that is it not in use, and 4 childs are playing on a railway track that is in active use. So where should the train go? Like this, how can we handle this ethical dilemma question?
Where could the train go? A very interesting question. They asked this question in the interview.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I found it in transcript.
Okay. What, any answers here? I mean, I would start by saying, sir, since we know there are children playing either way, we should stop the train. No? I mean, probably they are testing presence of your mind. I mean, you are assuming that the driver knows that the children are playing, one on this track and the 4 on the other track. No? Otherwise, how does the driver know? If he doesn't know, he'll continue to. If he knows, then he'll stop the train. Number 1. Number 2, the driver doesn't have the option to change the track. Driver doesn't change the track. Track is changed by the person who commands those tracks. Driver moves the train. So if the driver knows that there are children playing, then you should stop, whether it is because either way children are going to be killed. And if the driver doesn't know, that it doesn't matter, someone else has to know. Driver can't do much about it. No? Any other answer to this? Probably they're testing your presence of mind more than answer of the question. Any other intervention in this? They could.
Like, sir, if...
Yeah. Yeah, Tanisha.
Yes, sir. If they develop further argument that you are not a driver, you are a person who handles the track management. So in which way you will move the train?
Which direction will you say? You know, if I can still convey to the driver, now you have remote connect with the driver to tell him to stop the train.
Yes,
I mean, see, most of the accidents happen not because they are aware. If they don't seek an option, yahan se wahan. You know, a better question could be, you are driving a car and suddenly two things happen. Since you are driving the car and you are aware, then what would you do? What is the dilemma? That's the ethical dilemma, whether one should be killed or four should be killed. Right? Then also you start by saying, I'll try and apply brake to save both. They will again insist, say, no, you have got to kill somebody. If you got to kill somebody, then I'm not saying it, you are saying it, I'll kill one. I think this question is not in terms of ethical dilemma. This question is basically to test the presence of your mind, sometimes to put you off. That's it. There can't be an ethical dilemma. You killing one or four, both are bad. One may be less bad, the other may be bad. Okay. So it's more a test. It could happen. Usually it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does happen. Sometimes they will ask you suddenly this question. My suggestion to all of you is, these scripts are now available. Rajat, may I request you to circulate whatever scripts that we are receiving with all the candidates individually? You go through those scripts and then come up with questions. I'm glad two of you have read the script. Why aren't you making use of the script? Because देखिए ऐसा है, if nothing else, you will get the trend of the questions, if not that specific questions. And you have the advantage being part of a StudyIQ that we are getting, fortunately, most of you who are going for interview are sending your scripts to us. Nice of those that have done. And I'm expecting you also will do that because it benefits others. So do that. Try and share your scripts. And I've requested Rajat to share the script. We will have another session 1 week down the line, by which time my suggestion is go through those scripts and come up with questions. Come up with whatever questions. And I'm so glad many of you are nodding heads as I'm talking to you. I feel good. Others अभी भी मूर्ति बने हुए हैं. हमारे दीपक जी अवतरित तो अब मुस्कुरा दिए, देखिए बिल्कुल मेरा दिन बन गया, शाम बन गई. मतलब आप लोग जब रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं तो मुझे भी अच्छा लगता है. आप लोग रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करते, मैं समझता मालूम नहीं किससे बात कर रहा हूँ, लैपटॉप के इससे बात कर रहा हूँ, क्या बात कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, ओके. Any other question you have? Anybody? We still have 10 minutes to go, so we can have a conversation there. They bound it. One children was playing on defunct rail. What is this? Should not go. Who has written this? Please speak out. Isha Singh.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I wanted to ask a question again related to judiciary itself.
Yes, please. Yes,
Related to, sir, the brother judge syndrome. Like there is a proposal right now that the people who are coming from the judicial family, the second or third generation lawyers, they should not be allowed to go to the bench. And the second proposal is related to providing some kind of affirmative action to the people who are first generation lawyer, so that they get a kind of reservation to become the judges. So if that kind of question appears, how should we handle that?
Okay, so let's take one by one. There are two parts to the question. First part of the question is that if a generation has got the benefit of becoming judge, the next generation should not become judge. What is your view? Is that the question okay, Isha? Right. Any attempts to answer this question? Any attempt? Yes, I have one hand here, but I want to see hands. मैं पूछूंगा अब. आदित्य मित्तल जी, आप बताइए, आप बहुत शांत बैठे हैं. आप हाथ नहीं उठाएंगे तो मैं आपका हाथ उठवाऊंगा. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Sir, actually, I was unmuting myself, but I was not able to unmute.
अब चलिए होगा, आप unmute बताइए.
Sir, in my opinion, I do not think that this is the right direction because it infringes upon Article 19, that is right to profession. Instead, we can come out with the alternate solutions like the transparency or the taking out the minutes of the meeting that the collegium holds.
ये आप आदित्य जी और बाकी सब लोग मुझे सुनते रहिए लगातार, और आप थोड़ा चेंज कीजिए अपनी लैंग्वेज को. आप कहिए इट मे नॉट बी अप्रोप्रिएट इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग it is not appropriate. You understand the difference between this terminology and what I'm using. Sir, it may not be appropriate to deprive a deserving candidate becoming judge just because he happens to be son or brother of another existing judge. So I'm not saying he should not be, it may not be appropriate. These words you have to practice. And it conveys a different impression. मैं बार-बार इस चीज को emphasize कर रहा हूं. It should be done, it should not be done, as if you have come to conclusions. My suggestion to you is, don't give categorical answers. You can, same thing you can say, sir, it may not be appropriate to deprive somebody of that. Because he may be but what is required is a वो सब आपका सही था बिल्कुल, transparent process and everything. That's absolutely fine what you said, right? Just the initial frame, and this is to all of you. Don't be categorical, no, it should not be done. You start by saying it should not be done. Instead of saying it may not be appropriate to do it. Right? Okay. Anybody else volunteering to answer this question? Umesh, I see your hand there. Umesh Kumar, yes. Unmute yourself.
Sir, though there have been allegations of brother judges syndrome, sir, but we have to look at the primacy for which judiciary is there, sir. That is for the appreciation of facts and coming out to a judgment. So I think, sir, the appreciation of facts, anyone can be good at it. It is not necessary that he has to be from a particular family or a particular background, sir. So our main motto should be that impartial decision should be there. If someone from the same family they get the benefit of being a backgrounder in the same domain, sir. So that should be our primary criteria, sir, and not just reservation and all these things. Otherwise, justice will get affected, sir.
Isha, do you agree with these answers? What is your, since you raised this question?
Yes, sir. Sir, the first thing that is being promulgated right now, that there should be a complete ban on people who are from judges family to become judges. That is totally arbitrary. It defies the reasonable classification under Article 14. So that is something which should not be allowed. But I do think, sir, there should be some progressive steps which could be taken, like that of providing an ease for the first generation lawyers to become judges from bar to bench. Other than that, sir, there could also be that the judiciary should become more competitive, like all India judicial services, that should be taken up so that more judges from the whole country can come and become the part of the benches. Because right now, sir, 75%, more than 75% of the judges are coming from the family only, sir. So that is an issue, sir, I think.
So you, in the end, you said 75%. Is there empirical evidence to that?
Yes, sir. I think this is documented.
No, don't think. I have told you in your interview, don't state a fact unless you are sure of it. Even if you say 70, if you don't say 75%, you don't lose anything. But if you say 75%, it's factually incorrect, you are gone.
Okay.
So this is a suggestion to all of you. Don't state a fact unless you're sure. Only when you're sure, state it as a fact. Also, you can plead ignorance. It is generally believed that a lot of judges, wards become judges. It is generally believed. So belief में तो कोई question नहीं करेगा. लेकिन आप कहिए 75% तो लोग पढ़ जाएंगे आपके पीछे. आपने कहाँ पढ़ा? 75, which is factually incorrect, by the way. It's not 75%. So I'm not giving you a number, but it's not correct. So even if we're correct, you're not sure, don't say it, right? बाकी तो ठीक है, आपका आंसर ठीक है. So second part भी इसी में cover हो रहा है आपका कि first generation. You know, they could be, I'm just raising this as a counter question. They will say, then IS officer's son should not be allowed to compete. First generation. So this generation bit jo hai, you know, I think who came with that answer? The previous one? Kisne kiya tha? The first answer to this question. Who answered it?
Yes, sir.
Adit. Adit answered it very well. You know, he's saying, kahin se lijiye. Question is of merit. The system of recruitment should be such and transparent. फिर जो भी आना चाहे आ जाए, लड़का है, एक्टर का बच्चा, फिर वो एक्टर नहीं बनेगा, वो कहेगा उसको एक्टर ना बनने दीजिए. अब ये कहाँ का तरीका है? But so long as the process is transparent, no one will question it. भाई inherent advantage तो है ही उसका. He's lived in that family, he knows. But denying them will be, as somebody rightly said, one of you, it will be unconstitutional. How can you deny somebody just because he happens to be a son of somebody, right? Okay. So we can have one more question. There are 5 minutes left. If there is any question. Okay. Since there is a question. Yes, Shrey.
Sir, I don't have a question. I was asking, are the recording of these sessions available in the group, sir?
Yes. Recording of all these sessions are available. And I'm requesting Rajat to share it again with all the members, recording all these sensitive questions. And apart from what I am saying, my suggestion, listen to your own colleagues. Some of the answers are absolutely perfect. And you should try and attempt to do that. Now, I have just 2-3 things to say. I know Kaushal has raised... Okay, Kaushal, go ahead. Since you spoke so well, I can't prevent you from asking a question. Yes, Kaushal.
Sir, thank you. So this question came while we were doing the group discussion. So we were discussing about the same-sex marriage, and we were discussing like same-sex marriage should be permitted because it is individual's choice, and if 2 individuals are willing to do it, then we should allow. And on the other hand, we were also discussing a Special Marriage Act, and it provides that there is some section that we, for a certain period of time, maybe 3 months or 6 months, I'm not sure, for that particular time, the notice should be displayed, and if anybody has to object, they can object because marriage is a social institution. So ultimately, question which came to all of us was, marriage is a social institution or it is an individual institution? So I did not have any convincing answer for that.
See, as I look at it, marriage is both individual as well as social contract. It is not one and one. It is, you're a part of society and you are there. But as Supreme Court has already given a judgment on that, they don't call it illegal. If I remember correctly, in that discussion, we came up with that. So what I will suggest to you, Kaushal, is that look at that discussion that we had in the first or the second one. And then in the next session, we'll take it up if there are some unanswered question in that, right? Okay, there are a few things that I wanted to suggest to you. Number one, I'm reiterating the point that you should be, I can make out that many of you are reading your editorial articles in the morning and speaking them out loud and copying and recording both this reading as well as speaking. I'm assuming that all of you are participating actively in your group discussions. My suggestion is, even if just 2 people come, you should have discussion, but do it regularly. I don't think anything is more important than these group discussions. I will never tire of repeating this time and again because I have seen people benefiting out of it. So those of you that are not participating in group discussions, please do that regularly. It is in your own interest. I plan to take one-on-one offline session on 6th of February. So those of you who want to have one-on-one offline and you are in Delhi, you're most welcome. Please send your name to Rajat. I am also open to one-on-one online session. I've already had with around 50 of you. And anyone of you wanting to have a chat with me can message Rajat or me, and we will give you time and I'll have a chat with you on phone. With some of you, I've had a chat, and those of you that have your personality test in the month of March or April, I have suggested a few things, and then I'll have a second round of chat with them. And I'm hoping that whatever I've suggested to you, you will follow it to the hilt. You know, I can keep giving suggestions to you. I can keep requesting you, but to do or not to do is your choice. Do that. And please carefully read all these suggestions that we send in the group. Once in a while, I also write in the group. Please take a look at it and follow if it is in your own interest. And with these words, we are coming to the end of the session. God bless you. Take care. Keep smiling and be visible. If an invisible man can be visible, you all can also be visible. Okay? Thank you.